I rise to give my unequivocal and unconditional support to the estimates and revenues for an expenditure presented in this Honorable House on Tuesday by the Honorable Minister of Finance. Mr. Speaker, once again, the Minister of Finance and the team have been able to bring a budget before this Parliament that is not just about balancing figures, but it's about balancing people's lives. As the representative of the people of Roseau Central, I must say that these new programs, projects, and incentives give us a renewed hope. This government has shown through the management of the pandemic, as has been done before, that people will always be at the center of everything that it does. The projections for the next fiscal period reflect a strategic repositioning of the economy to be able to adapt to a new normal and a digital future. This government is committed to reducing poverty and empowering people. Its continued commitment to building homes, education, health, and the promotion of a digital economy leaves us in Roseau Central reassured that we will be part of this new dynamic Dominica. If what has been done in the last few months is any indication, we know that we in Roseau Central will continue to get our fair share of the pie. And Mr. Speaker, I am particularly pleased about this government's continued commitment to the cause of women and children. Even before being sent to this House by the voters of Roseau Central, my personal work among women and children has been a focus of my adult life. And Mr. Speaker, even during the most challenging times, I have never ceased to assist the elderly and specifically single mothers with infants. As a parliamentary representative, I continue to support the various charitable efforts which pleasingly supplement the many policies and actions of the central government. This government has indeed showed how nimble and how able it is to adjust in the face of these unpredicted challenges that have been thrown up by this pandemic, something that no one foresaw in just a few months ago, and a development that has upended the entire world. But thanks to the policies and the creativity of this administration and the leadership of the Prime Minister, Dominica has been kept afloat. I stand here in full support of the 2020-2021 budget because this government is offering solutions rather than excuses. It is offering direction where there are complaints. And crucially, it is offering hope in a time when it would have been very easy to bow to cynicism. The $74 million and the enormity of the task on this package for education is not just solid money for the sector, but it is a down payment on hope. The $60 million on health is not just money put in the well-being of the people. It is also a down payment on hope. The $75 million it has allocated to invest it into a digital economy shows that we are building an economy ready for the new era. Mr. Speaker, everyone that I have spoke to regarding the budget expected cuts in expenditure. They never expected such a generous budget. And that is why, Mr. Speaker, as I said from the very onset, that on behalf of the people of Roseau Central, I support this brilliantly crafted and well thought out budget. Mr. Speaker, this is my first budget debate as the representative of Roseau Central. And so, I want to again publicly thank the people of my constituency for the faith that they have shown in me and to thank them for their unwavering support. While a solid majority of people worked hard in ensuring that I get here, I am proud to stand as the representative of all the people in my constituency. I am proud to say that all have been touched by this government. At a time when people were too afraid to venture outside, Mr. Speaker, we delivered care packages with agricultural produce, even fresh fish, to every single house in the Roseau Central constituency. Mr. Speaker, the journey to becoming Parle Rep was indeed one of the most satisfying experiences of my life, and the faith that the people have reposed in me is indeed truly humbling. My stewardship has started in a time of challenge, but also, Mr. Speaker, I see it as a time of opportunity. Roseau Central is very much part of this team that will take its rightful place in building the dynamic Dominica that we speak about. The work of this government in the past 7 short months and the proposal put before this House for the next budgetary cycle shows the promotion of dynamic Dominica, that it was not just an empty campaign slogan put in a glossy manifesto, Mr. Speaker, but it is indeed a true act of commitment and seriousness. The foundation for achieving the goals are solidly laid here in the budgetary proposals. And from the point of view of my constituency, we are particularly heartened by this government's commitment to urban renewal. And for the next 12 months, Mr. Speaker, will just be another phase in our commitment to transforming Roseau into becoming a signature city in the Eastern Caribbean. Mr. Speaker, I will now zero in on my constituency. Roseau Enhancement Project. Mr. Speaker, the Roseau Enhancement Project commenced last fiscal year with the rehabilitation of the section of riverbank. And during this coming year, God willing, we will see the construction of a bypass road running from east to west along the southern border of the Botanic Gardens. Part of the vision of this government is to undertake the transformation of the Botanic Garden into an oasis of safety, calm, and beauty for all to enjoy. With the construction of the bypass road, we will be able to make the Botanic Gardens vehicle-free. The construction of a 2-way bypass road will also significantly reduce traffic congestion in the city. Mr. Speaker, in this financial year, a 140-meter wall will be constructed along the southern bank of the Roseau River between the EC Low Black Bridge and the Goodwill Link Road Bridge. This will not only enhance the aesthetics of the city, but it will complete the southern river defense walls, mitigating against the risk of flooding in the city. And I say to my people of Riverbank, once this wall is constructed, you will no doubt be much safer and sleep much better during the hurricane season. Mr. Speaker, the newly completed Roseau River Promenade is just another example of government in action. It not only enhances the aesthetics of the city, but it provides avenues for commerce with the installation of vending stalls. This area will continue to provide business opportunities for ordinary people, and for many people in Roseau, they will no doubt take advantage of the opportunity presented. The streets of Roseau, Mr. Speaker, are also being resurfaced. In fact, if you drive through the main arteries in Roseau, like King George V Street, Kennedy Avenue, and Victoria Street and High Street, you would have noticed that many of the streets have already been resurfaced. And Mr. Speaker, you would also be remiss of me not to mention the newly resurfaced roads in the Roseau North constituency, Jupiter Lane, Rose Street, Downing Gap, Hummingbird Avenue. Mr. Speaker, I traverse this area quite often, and I must say that that constituency has some of the best roads in Dominica. Once again, Mr. Speaker, it is a sign of a government in action for all of its people. And as the Minister of Finance reported, over $4 million have been spent on the resurfacing of road, and more have been budgeted for the next cycle. This is indeed a government in action for all its people. Small business loans. Mr. Speaker, we were already on an upward trajectory of development when COVID-19 came upon us. I've never experienced a pandemic of this magnitude before, and as a business person, I can say that this is one of your worst nightmares. The coronavirus outbreak caused a global economic shutdown with devastating impacts, especially in the small business sector. But Mr. Speaker, we here in Dominica have been able to defy the odds. Successful small businesses remain an integral part of economic growth, and government recognizes that. And this is why many business owners were able to secure loans at the Aid Bank and provide an instant cash injection into their business at a low rate of 1%. Mr. Speaker, many of my constituents and that of the Roseau North constituency have already benefited from this loan, and they are very grateful. This cash injection has no doubt curbed the impacts of COVID-19 on our economy, and it has served as a saving grace for many of these small business owners during trying times. Mr. Speaker, this small business loan program is one fundamental example of a government eager and prepared not just to give a handout, but to give a hand up. 30 million for 3 years at 1%. If anyone can tell me anywhere in the Caribbean where this is being offered to small businesses, I will ask my husband, I will ask the Prime Minister to double that. Mr. Speaker, while the rest of the world is shutting down multi-million-dollar corporations and hundreds of companies file for bankruptcy, right here in Dominica, a developing country, we are paddling steadily, and we can safely keep our heads above the rising waters, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, businesses are expanding. New online stores are emerging. And I speak about the new massive supercenters. Lately, you've seen Do It Center, S-Mart, Fresh Market, and more recently, you've seen Jolly's mega retail and wholesale store center in the Roseau area. This, Mr. Speaker, is a testimony of a growing economy. Creating new job opportunities and a demonstration of confidence in the economy. Mr. Speaker, we are not satisfied to just talk the talk about empowerment, but our policies and actions make it clear that we are walking the walk. And behind all of these assistance and incentives are people's stories of lifting themselves up and pushing themselves forward and out of poverty. Roseau River Promenade. Mr. Speaker, additionally, we are pleased to report that the keys have been handed over to 16 small business owners for the kiosks on the Roseau River Promenade and Charles Avenue. All countries must have a proud and vibrant city, and this is why investment in the millions was spent in the development of this new scenic promenade. money well spent that will certainly stir the small business sector. It will provide new jobs and new business ventures for 16 new entrepreneurs. Mr. Speaker, this promenade will be a spectacle once opened, a place of excitement, a place to tantalize your taste buds. I anticipate that this will be the new hotspot in the city. Careful consideration was given in order to offer a variety of foods and to attract the traveling foodie, because we must promote what is unique to us. And that's why I'm pleased to announce that we'll showcase our Creole cuisine. And our first stall, I'm pleased to announce Backyard Bacchanal, will promote exquisite Creole cuisine and local delicacies. And Mr. Speaker, if you take 2 steps down from Backyard Bacchanal, you will meet Langford's Barbecue Bar and Grill. Mr. Langford has been vending on the roadside of Cock Street for years. But now, for the first time, Mr. Speaker, he will now have his first business place and be able to provide for his customers. And Mr. Speaker, if you take 2 steps down, you will meet the famous Popeye's ice cream. I'm sure the children of Roseau North missed running to the ice cream truck. That was damaged with Hurricane Maria. But now, Mr. Speaker, Popeye's ice cream is ready to bounce back. And Mr. Speaker, if you take 2 steps down, you will meet our very own Iron Chef. Her previous restaurant was closed down after Tropical Storm Erica, but she will now be given the opportunity to present an international cuisine, the first Mexican cuisine in Roseau. And Mr. Speaker, if you take 2 more steps down, you will meet Rasta Delectables. It's famous for tasty vegan meals and catering to the exquisite taste buds of Rastafarians. This entrepreneur worked out of his home kitchen, Mr. Speaker, and for the first time, he will now have his first business place, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, I am excited. I have to tell this story because if you take 2 steps down, this is a story worth telling, Mr. Speaker. You will be greeted by a wide smile of this new entrepreneur. This one is a touching story because years ago, Mr. Speaker, when this woman worked under the Member of Parliament of the Marigot constituency, Mr. Linton, while going through her struggles of raising 4 children, she was single-handedly victimized by the member. He even went a step further and he said to her that you shall never eat bread again. And he did ensure that she suffered. Mr. Speaker, she had to leave her children in Dominica and she had to run from Dominica to survive. But today, Mr. Speaker, in 2020, she's able to return home, reunite with her children, and own a business and be in a safe environment, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, thanks to this Labour Party government. Mr. Speaker, there are many more stalls, specializing in local Creole cuisine, but I don't want to take away the surprise element. And so I am confident that this restaurant hub will no doubt pique the interest of the food traveler who will bring foodies to Dominica and introduce them to our Nature Isle Creole cuisine. The river promenade is for the old, for the young, for couples, for family, for children, for visitors.
10 more minutes.
Mr. Speaker, I move that the honourable member for the Roseau Central constituency be given an additional 15 minutes to complete a presentation on the budget debate.
It has been moved It has been moved and seconded that the Honorable Popon Skerrit receive an additional 15 minutes. Those in favor? Aye. Those against? The ayes have it.
Thank you.
Honorable Popon Skerrit, I did not want to say Skerrit because people might think he's getting too much time. So Popon Skerrit, you have an additional 15 minutes.
Thank you. Mr. Speaker, I would like to invite everyone to come and discover the Roseau River Promenade, as I have no doubt that this area will be buzzing and bubbling. This area will also accommodate entertainment, small live performances and local artists, and spaces for families to gather and enjoy themselves. Mr. Speaker, when I met with the new business owners last week, I made a promise that we would further step it up a notch and offer free, accessible Wi-Fi to everyone who visits the promenade. Mr. Speaker, Roseau Central is keeping up with the world, and we are going to compete with the best, and we are going to remain ahead of the rest. Housing. Mr. Speaker, the government remains steadfast on its commitment to providing comfortable housing for the residents of Roseau Central. And I am pleased that as a first-time PAL rep, that which I promised last year during the election campaign is now manifesting right before our eyes. I am happy to report that despite the hiccups of COVID-19, construction of the state-of-the-art apartment complex on Upper Riverbank, opposite the grammar school, has commenced. This will include 51 new apartments and 8 commercial spaces. I am also pleased to announce that a section of the Pong area is currently being cleared with the intention of starting the first phase of the new apartment complex. Mr. Speaker, I've been listening to the opposition for the past few days, and they seem to be obsessed, they seem to be fascinated with the number 64. 64, 64, that's all I keep hearing for the past few days. But Mr. Speaker, I want to fascinate them further with 64 new luxurious apartments coming to the Pong area. Mr. Speaker, when I give my commitment to a task, I give it my best shot. I do it well. I give them something good to talk about. The look and feel of our city apartments will be like no other that you have seen in Dominica, because I believe that any great city must be sacred, safe, have vitality, and be attractive. This block will also have 12 commercial shops. Mr. Speaker, no longer shall Pong be called Pong, because as we elevate the standard of living of the people with high-quality residences, we shall now refer to this area as the Roseau City Square. We have deliberately included commercial spaces at the apartment complexes because we know that for many small businesses, rent is a cost which these small businesses have a major challenge. And Mr. Speaker, this government has spent millions in the Roseau area renovating and enhancing the living quarters of many families. When driving through Roseau, one will notice multiple concrete structures under construction, and that is the work of this government. Mr. Speaker, this Dominica Labour Party government will never give up its boxing gloves in the fight against poverty. Allow me to give an example of the transformation of lives, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there's a lady by the name of Hazel in the Roseau North constituency. She was unemployed for some time. She had 5 children. She was divorced. She was left to live in a shed, separated from her children because it was not fit to house them. for years, Mr. Speaker. But today, Mr. Speaker, with the intervention of this government, Hazel is now living happily in a 3-bedroom climate-resilient house. After years of separation from her children, she has reunited with them as she's now able to provide a safe and comfortable home for them. And Mr. Speaker, last week I was invited to the dedication of her newly constructed home. And she said that when she would share her dreams with people about owning a home, they would laugh and they would belittle her and they would say to her, "But who are you to have a house?" She would stay silent and she would just bow her head, Mr. Speaker. But today, she can walk with her head high in her community, Mr. Speaker. And she says, and I quote her, "What this government has done for me has given me an elevation of spirit, an elevation of character, and an elevation of status." And Mr. Speaker, this is what this Labour Party government is about, taking each and every one of us to the next level. And so, we did not sing in vain last election when we chanted our anthem, "Dreams of brighter days." Aha, aha, Mr. Speaker. We sang, we decreed, and we claimed our blessings to come, and this Labour Party government delivered. Even in my short time as a politician, over 101 homes have been constructed and renovated, Mr. Speaker. And I really have to say thanks to the director of my housing team, Pastor Samuel Augustine. It is because of his passion for people and his distinct work ethic that we are able to touch the lives of so many in such little time. Education. Mr. Speaker, our youth today are privileged to have a government which places strong emphasis on education. When I listen to students from other islands, they lament how they would envy the Dominican students who were debt-free because their government, this government, invested in their education. Their government, on the other hand, did not provide free education, and so their families had to come together to obtain a loan, which they would be responsible for upon completion of their degree. So these students, Mr. Speaker, would begin life in debt. Mr. Speaker, under this Labour Party government, many have obtained bachelor's degrees as well as master's degrees. Many students have returned home debt-free and are now employed within the public and private sector. And even those who have taken additional loans will now get further reduction by 40% covered by this government. Many return with work experience and skill set which have aided them to becoming self-made entrepreneurs. Mr. Speaker, this government has been able to offer capable students from impoverished backgrounds an opportunity to make an important contribution to society. And this is the visionary plan of this government. This is a testimony to the care and the thought that this government has placed into the lives of its citizens. My only caution to parents and students who benefit from the government's education policies is that they must not take this for granted. As we move to the digital economy, digital learning and digital life, we move a step further to empower our high school and our college students with devices. Mr. Speaker, I have been able as PAL Rep to secure the donation of new laptops to be delivered to all my secondary school students and all my college students. This will be distributed way before school reopens in September. And Mr. Speaker, even as we speak, my office is busy preparing for the upcoming school year. Textbooks are being given out already. Preparation for school uniforms, school shoes, transportation fees are well underway. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, through the Melissa Skerritt Foundation, under the yearly Adopt a Child Back to School program, Hundreds of children in the Roseau Central constituency will receive free school bags and supplies and scholarships. Mr. Speaker, with the favor of God, I am anticipating that this time I will be able to extend this gesture to other constituencies. Employment. Mr. Speaker, in a time when unemployment is at an all-time high in the rest of the world, this government is still able to provide jobs and opportunities for its people. Over 86 people in Roseau Central are employed under the NEP program. The emergence of the new businesses provides hundreds of jobs. The massive housing revolution has seen not only the sustainability of jobs, but the training of skilled individuals. In Roseau Central, you are already seeing the transformation, and that is because our people are hard at work. Mr. Speaker, someone is doing the painting, someone is cleaning the streets, someone is tiling, someone is doing the construction on multiple homes, someone is cooking for the homeless, someone is doing the electrical, someone is driving the truck, someone is doing the beautification, someone is working in a private firm, someone is working in the public sector. Someone has been empowered to create jobs for herself and for others. Mr. Speaker, as my housing program expands within the next few weeks, additional jobs in all areas of construction will become available. I am also pleased to announce that multiple jobs within the hospitality sector will soon be presented. Mr. Speaker, we are bringing a multi-million-dollar luxury boutique hotel right here in the city of Roseau. The Grand Anse Holdings Limited, a Dominican-owned and registered company, has been granted approval to develop a 66-room luxury boutique hotel right here in the city of Roseau Central. Mr. Speaker, this new 4-star quality hotel will offer many benefits to the Dominican economy. It will improve lives through economic and social transformation, particularly the residents of the city. This project is also expected to enhance skills and to create jobs in culinary arts and hospitality. Opportunities will be created for our farmers, for our fisher folks, for the waitresses, chefs, cleaners, bartenders, security, construction workers, hotel maintenance, administrative positions. Mr. Speaker, you will also see the expansion of the Fortune Hotel. 100 new rooms are currently under construction. More job opportunities to come for the people. So stay tuned, my people, there is more to come. Sports. Mr. Speaker, our young men and our young women yearn to engage in more sporting activities in the city. And this is why we place special emphasis on the construction of a tennis court, basketball court, small goal football, and soon to be added to the list, a boxing ring. Mr. Speaker, I could not have this new sporting area without including something for the children. And this is why a child-friendly section with playground equipment will also be part of this new sporting square. At the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, we have already upgraded to international standards. A new electronic scoreboard is on island and is ready to be installed. Mr. Speaker, we are more than ready to host International Cricket 2021. Mr. Speaker, Roseau is well on its way to becoming a modern commercial and economic center, serving not only the residents of Dominica, but with a greater appeal to persons in our neighboring islands of Guadeloupe and Martinique. And we have taken the first step into making Roseau the natural, cultural, economic, and entertainment link to our neighbors. Because it is to our shores that they will bring visiting friends and relatives for a taste of our culture. Mr. Speaker, This government is meticulously crafting a new smart city, and that makeover has already begun. The new water project will ensure improved access to clean and reliable water supply to residents and businesses. The new streetlight project will give life and light to our transformations. The creation of urban gardens on abandoned lots will offer an instant facelift to our streets. The new signage and street signs will bring greater appreciation for our city and enhance the look and feel. Mr. Speaker, as you heard, we have recycled bins coming to every household in the city. You heard the Minister of Health speak about our health center. We are not just going to refurbish the current structure. We are building a brand new health center in Roseau. Mr. Speaker, our farmers benefited tremendously from the Ministry of Agriculture with the distribution of seeds, seedlings, and fertilizer. And I have to thank the Chinese government for showing us new modern-day farming techniques, because this is particularly important to Roseau Central, because unlike other constituencies, we don't have the backyards and the extra farmlands. And so my people are engaging in vertical farming and rooftop farming. Mr. Speaker, work is being done on the fisheries in Roseau to allow for proper storage and packaging of fish. And I would like to appeal to my fisher folks to get ready, because with our new hotels in the city, there will be a steady demand for fish. Mr. Speaker, in closing, I would like to thank my colleague members of Parliament for the support and the encouragement that they have given to me in the last few months. I also want to pay special tribute to the members of my constituency, my team leaders, and all the workers and volunteers who have overseen a lot of the work that we are doing in Roseau Central. And I have to say special thanks to Sonia Felix, for keeping our streets clean and beautiful at all times. Mr. Speaker, no matter what, it can be rain, sun, shine, flood, hurricane, protests, fire, COVID, Sahara dust, our streets are always clean, and nothing deters her and her team. To the people of my constituency and to many who offer their encouragement and prayers, I say thank you. To Mr. Ian Monroe and Mrs. Alison Southwell, the mama and the papa of Roseau, I want to say thank you for your unwavering support and your guidance. Mr. Speaker, we see representation as doing the Lord's work. We are sent here to represent all people, but particularly the poor and the vulnerable, and that we shall continue to do. We take heed of what is said in Proverbs, that whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done. But the truth is, Mr. Speaker, Labour is not helping the poor for any reward. We are doing this because we care for the people. We are doing this because we have love for the people. And so we shall be continued to be inspired by the work we get to do for every woman, every man, and every child, for the weak and for the marginalized, for the boys on the block who yearn for better alternatives. The things we have been able to do in the first 7 months through the grace of God and the support of the people are just a tip of the iceberg. And I am determined more than ever to use this opportunity as a force for good. And I am confident, as we had been in the beginning of this journey, that through our collective efforts, we shall see the betterment for all of the people of Roseau Central. To my constituents who are listening, listening on the radio, TV, on Facebook, I say thank you for the support. And I leave you with these 3 words: expect to rise. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.